I am here for this. We are going to have some fun on the show. Sam Acho over here already getting way into it.
Hey,
you all didn't see. He had some little moves going on here. He was nodding his head.
Hey, yeah, I am lit.
And it's going to be lit. Everybody, welcome into First Take. It is Friday. Thank goodness we made it.
Head up,
Sam Acho.
Get your head up, RC.
Martin. We got Ryan Clark. I'm Charlie Arnold. And guess what? All show long, we're going to be giving you a live look at what's going down in Atlanta ahead of tomorrow's game between North Carolina Central and Alcorn State ahead of the MEAC SWAC Challenge kickoff. We are excited for it. So that's going to be what's happening. But before we get to anything else, we do have some breaking news into First Take this morning, and that is that, according to Adam Schefter, Jameis Winston has been named the Saints starting quarterback, and he will make his first start for New Orleans on opening day versus the Green Bay Packers. Schefter also tweeting that Saints players responded yesterday, congratulating Winston, who locked up the job with a strong performance during Monday night's preseason win over the Jags. So, Acho, let's talk. Is Jameis the long-term solution for the Saints?
No, Jameis is not the long-term solution for the Saints, but he is the right-now solution for the Saints. You know that Week 1 matchup, what they got against Green Bay? Jameis and those Saints are about to beat Green Bay and show them what's really going on in the NFC South. I think that what people don't understand about this is this. Tampa Bay won the Super Bowl, yes, but New Orleans won that division, beat them twice with Tom Brady all season long. It's hard to beat a team three times. We all understand that. But New Orleans defense is not something to be played with. And Jameis Winston and Sean Payton coming together, not something to be played with.
I'm so confused.
Yeah.
So he's, gosh, golly, man, I ain't been working in so long, and it's just been such a long summer that maybe.
That's how I looked yesterday.
Maybe.
That's how I looked
yesterday.
So
what we're saying is what we're saying is that the New Orleans Saints are really good. The New Orleans Saints were good enough to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers twice last year. It's hard to beat a team 3 times unless you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and you're going on to win the Super Bowl and you beat the Baltimore Ravens 3 times in 2008. But I digress. Okay, and so now you're saying that Jameis Winston is going to open the season by beating the Green Bay Packers, the same Green Bay Packers that were in the NFC Championship last year, the same Green Bay Packers that have to be win the Super Bowl or bust this year and Aaron Rodgers last year, and we're not going to say that Jameis Winston can be the quarterback of the future? I think this is exactly why Jameis Winston is a New Orleans Saint. This is exactly why Jameis Winston took a 1-year deal last year to learn under Drew Brees, to have this opportunity to compete with Taysom Hill for the starting job in 2021, because this is a place with Sean Payton that understands how to groom quarterbacks, understands how to protect quarterbacks, which we watched him do with Drew Brees the last 3 years. We saw him do it with Teddy Bridgewater 2 years ago. We saw him do it with Taysom Hill for 4 games last year. Jameis Winston is the future of the New Orleans Saints. If Jameis Winston plays well enough to beat the Green Bay Packers Week 1, if Jameis Winston plays well enough to make this a playoff team, to have this a team that is competing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, why wouldn't he be the franchise quarterback? Why wouldn't the dude that was the Heisman winner, that was drafted number 1 overall, that was a Pro Bowler in his 2nd year, be the guy? Here's what y'all miss. Last year, Tom Brady, during the 3-game stretch, had 8 interceptions. That's not Tom Brady-like. That's not what he does. But that was risk it, no biscuit. That's what Bruce Arians wants to do. So what did he do at that point? He changed things. They became a different team. And so for some reason we can't, and listen, I've made the Jameis jokes. I can't wait to watch the 30 for 30 when Jameis threw as many interceptions as he threw touchdowns. That's going to be a great episode. That's going to be a great documentary. But it's also going to finish with Jameis Winston finishing his career as the starting quarterback of the New Orleans Saints, and that starts in 2021.
Yeah, I tend to agree with RC from the standpoint of this is Jameis's last shot. Let's be real. Like, I talked to Jameis during training camp of 2019, his last year with the Buccaneers, and he said all the right things about how playing with having Byron Leftwich as his offensive coordinator, one of the 2 black offensive coordinators in the league, how that was going to help him, and how he understood that he was in a pivotal year. And what happened? A year later, he's watching his old team, the team that drafted him, win a Super Bowl with Tom Brady. Like, he understands what's at stake, I would hope, based on what he said to Jeremy Fallon, that really good piece that aired on SportsCenter and all that stuff a few weeks ago. He gets it. And let's think about it. I mean, the guy had surgery. He had LASIK surgery. Jameis can see. Jameis
That is
can see, y'all.
important. That's important.
February
That's huge.
21st, he
Detail.
can see. So
That's
I
huge.
want to see the nearsightedness is gone, the astigmatism is gone. I want to see Jameis ball out.
But I think here's what a lot of us are missing.
No more
right?
excuses for that.
Because RC, you said, oh, I'm confused. You're kind of nodding your head a little bit, timid, trepidatious. Here's what a lot of us are missing. It is nearly impossible to be a franchise quarterback for a long period of time and have extended success. The people you think about Tom Brady's of the world. You think about the Aaron Rodgers of the world. You think about the Drew Breeses of the world. So you say, like, that's rare. That's like the upper echelon of quarterback. And then you go to people who have instant success or early success or year-by-year success. Think about the Jared Goffs of the world. They get paid. Dak Prescott, still trying to see what he's going to be, right? At this point where we stand right now, the New Orleans Saints and Jameis Winston are in a position to win based off of their defense, which in the last 9 weeks of last year was the number one defense in the NFL, number one scoring defense, number one in takeaways, held teams to under 16 points a game. You've got dogs on that defense that may not be there in 2 or 3 or 4 years. All of a sudden, all the greatness that we're seeing with the New Orleans Saints right now, you may not have that kind of leash in 2 or 3 or 4 years. Will Jameis have a great year this year? I believe he will, for all the reasons that we stated. Will he do well next year? Maybe. But when we talk about franchise quarterback, that conversation is reserved for the few, the proud. The Marines? The Marines.
No, see, but what you're getting into conversations that get people gold coats, right? That get people opportunities to sit to get Hall of Fame busts. Those were the type of names that you mentioned. You forget a guy like Joe Flacco, who played for an extremely long time with the Baltimore Ravens and was able to get a huge deal. You forget guys like Cam Newton, who was in Carolina, and to me, for a time and period in his life, Cam Newton was also a franchise quarterback. You forget that Eli Manning, that Ben Roethlisberger, that Phillip Rivers, all of these dudes were franchise quarterbacks. And so I understand what you're saying about the Drew Breeses and what you're saying about the Aaron Rodgers and what you're saying about Tom Brady. Those dudes are different. No one is saying, okay, let me not say no one. I am not saying that because of this transition, because of this opportunity, Jameis Winston ends up being a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's not what I'm saying. When I think franchise quarterback, what I think is Jameis Winston was on a 1-year deal. Jameis Winston has to sign another short deal. That Jameis Winston can play himself into getting a long-term contract with the New Orleans Saints. That don't mean he got to get Josh Allen money, but it does mean that he has to have the type of security that says, you know what, you are our quarterback right now and the next year and the year after, because you have shown us that you can lead us into the future. I'm not projecting that Jameis Winston ends up having this career that's so resurrected by this, we forget that he threw 30 interceptions 2 years ago. What I'm saying is Jameis Winston can put a stronghold on this position and become the quarterback of the New Orleans Saints that everybody knows, that they wear his jerseys, that they say, you know what, each and every year, Jameis Winston gives us an opportunity to go to the playoffs. Because no matter what we say, when you're drafted number 1 overall, you have talent. When you're drafted number 1 overall, you have a resume. When you have success in the league at some point, you've shown people you can do it. But it's about getting in the right spot. I think the New Orleans Saints, like you said, for the next 2 or 3 years are the right spot. If he plays well, then he does get an opportunity to be the quarterback of this franchise.
And RC, the only issue with what you said there is some of those names you mentioned, I get it, like gold jackets, like that's different, right? That's different echelon. But some of the other names you mentioned, right, the Big Bens of the world, you mentioned the Joe Flaccos, the Cams of the world. Those guys either won or went to Super Bowls, right? You talk about a franchise quarterback to be there for 5-10 years, Super Bowls. And I don't think Jameis is taking this team to Super Bowls. And that's why, yes, he's not in that upper echelon. And that's why he's not going to be the franchise quarterback. Super Bowls, winning them, going to them. Cam Newton, a name that you mentioned. He went there, right? Joe Flacco won it. All these names. Big Ben won it. Jameis Winston, I don't know if you can do it right now with New Orleans.
So here's what I've seen with New Orleans. I have seen Teddy Bridgewater go 5-0, and then he goes to Denver and he's in a competition with Drew Lock. Like, we've seen Sean Payton do some things with QBs, right? We've seen it. And when it comes to this competition between Taysom Hill and Jameis, which a lot of people tell you, like, why is this even a competition? Because you know what? At least you know with Jameis, you can get 5,000 yards and 35 touchdowns. It's on him to prove that he won't also throw the 30 interceptions to go along with that. But the situation is tailor-made for him, as RC said, to come in and solidify, yes, I get it now. I can be that dude, whether it's short-term, long-term deal, whether I win the Super Bowl or not. At least with me, you know we have a chance, or at least you believe we have a chance to get to the playoffs.
Okay, so long-term solution, we will find out, but this is the first time in 16 years someone not named Drew Brees is the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. And let's stay on the subject of starting quarterbacks. Cowboys fans, I want you to remain calm. Stay in your seats right now. But it looks like Dak Prescott could finally be back to normal. He strained his shoulder in July and has missed all of Dallas's preseason games as a result. But after returning to team drills earlier this week, Dak is off a pitch count. ESPN's Todd Archer tweeted these comments from offensive coordinator Kellen Moore. Quote, "We're just playing ball at this point. We're not looking at anything from a limitation standpoint. From his standpoint, we're getting ready for the regular season and Tampa Bay." Kimberly, are you buying or selling these comments about Dak Prescott?
Charlie, I'm a reporter. Listen, I'm a reporter, number one. Journalism 101 tells me, don't believe what people tell you. Trust your eyes, mostly. And what I haven't seen yet is a healthy Dak play in a game. And I'm not saying he won't, but we don't know. On this date, we don't know, and neither do the Cowboys. No one knows if this shoulder will be a lingering issue or he'll be fine. But I feel like there's a lot of talking about how Dak, this is nothing. Oh, this is nothing. Except we've been saying, it's nothing for weeks. I feel like if you're really fine, it's like, no, I'm good. It's straight. We don't have to say anything. But it's been weeks that we're talking about Dak, and I'm not 100% sure what he's going to look like against Todd Bowles' defense. Because one thing Todd Bowles will do is exploit your weaknesses. And if they think anything is up with this shoulder, Dak's got, this is a team that coming off the Super Bowl looking for another one. So until I see Dak on a field, I'm with Marcus Spears, like what he said the other day. I don't want to hear any more talking from the Cowboys. I just want to see Dak play.
You know what? I'm going to buy it. And I don't want to hear any more talking from the Cowboys either. But you know what? I'm tired of being a pessimist. Every time I come on the show, I got to come on the show, and people are like, "Oh, RC, you're so negative." I'm not negative. I just like the truth, because that's what my daddy always told me. Every time my daddy told me a story, he's like, "Son, I'm about to tell you what God loved, because God loved the truth." I'm going to believe that Kellen Moore is telling the truth, because it doesn't necessarily mean that Dak Prescott is going to come out and be the dude we watched throw the ball around for the first few weeks of the season last year. I think Kellen Moore has an understanding of how they need to play football with Dak. And whether it's the shoulder, whether it's the ankle, he hasn't gotten an opportunity to get the reps. He hasn't gotten the opportunities to actually have the reps in practice. So you have to slow play this. You have to understand that there are going to be two demons coming off the edge in week one, that they got two linebackers that can run side to side, and all their missions are every single play is kill everybody and let the paramedics sort them out. You know that on the back end of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, there's dog after dog after dog, and they're young and hungry. So Kellen Moore is going to understand that Ezekiel Elliott is important. He's going to understand that La'el Collins is healthy. Smith is now healthy. We don't have to make Dak Prescott do everything. And it's going to be huge on Dan Quinn and that defense to find some way just to stop somebody. I don't care if they're stopping Tom Brady, if they're stopping Tom Brady's oldest son, who is now a ball boy, if they're stopping the dude that tattooed Bruce Arians' Super Bowl tattoo. I don't care. Stop somebody who loves Tampa Bay in week one. And that's what you do to protect Dak Prescott. It doesn't necessarily have to be about a pitch count, but Kellen Moore has to know that he can do the things he needs to do with Dak Prescott to win games. And I believe that's where we've finally gotten. Will he be 100% healthy? Probably not. Is the ankle 100% healthy? Probably not. The shoulder? Probably not. But guess what? That's football, y'all. That's who we are. That's who they are. That's what you play through. So I'm going to buy this until they make me sell it. Now, if I watch week one and Kellen Moore isn't doing the things you always see with Dak Prescott, guess what I can tell him? I know it's September, but July. So for right now, though, we're going to rock with what Kellen Moore says. We're going to, for once, take somebody who has a star on their helmet for their word and say that Dak Prescott will take snaps week one and he'll be fine.
RC, you know how they say, hey, be strong where you're strong. Football, right? Football terms, right? Be strong where you're strong, right? Be strong where you're strong. Play your leverage. You need to be strong where you're strong. Go back to being a pessimist, bro, because this dude, Kellen Moore, is lying.
Wow.
Sell. So that's the thing. Like, you can read words, But like Kmart just said, you can also like believe what you see. I saw the interview, and I saw when Kellen Moore was asked, hey, is Dak on a pitch count? He didn't answer the question. His words were, well, we're just playing ball at this point. Oh, we're not thinking of anything from a limitation standpoint. Is Dak on a pitch count? Pretty much, yes, he is. That's what he didn't say. You got to listen to what people don't say. You can't come back. Put it this way. On July 28th, Dak Prescott had an MRI. That's when this whole thing started. We heard, oh, it's day-to-day. We don't have it. It's August 27th, and he just returned to practice. So I'm not believing anything that the Dallas Cowboys said, number one. Number two, they don't have a reason to be honest with us. What reason do the Cowboys have to tell us how injured or not injured Dak Prescott is? Of course, Dak Prescott is for lack of better terms, on a pitch count. Yeah, you may not have it 10 plays or 20 plays, but you're still going to ease him back in to regular season action. We're a little over 2 weeks away from the first game. You're not about to throw him out there to the Wolves. Yeah, he might be a caged lion trying to roar. We got to keep that dude in this cage. Yo, what's up? Keeping him in. Yeah, holler at me.
Sacho, you played football, bruh.
Wow, for 9 years.
There isn't load management at the quarterback position, right? We don't get to say, hey, he's only going to play 17 plays. You don't get to do that. Right, and when you're coaching football, if you're trying to win the football game, you can't say, you know what, right now we're not going to throw the ball. That's not how it works. If you in the heat and you in the fire, you might get burned. That's the way it happens. So if he's out there, if he goes out and he takes the first snap, he is not under a pitch count, Acho. You know this. Don't get up there with Kmart and start being like this. You are different, man. You come from a place.
Let me address him. Allow me to. I need the single shot so I can address my good brother RC.
Okay.
So check me out. I ain't gonna single shot. No. Okay, but check me out, RC. So what we also know, because we played the game 9 years, we played the game for a long time, is that there's a script. There's a script in practice. Because mind you, we're not getting ready for a game right now. We're getting ready for a preseason game. You got 2 weeks, 15, 16 days. There's a script. And so in that script, you got 12 plays, maybe 16 plays. You divide it up, right? Dak has been not maybe getting 2, maybe 4, maybe not a lot. Dak's not about to get all 16 of the first team reps. He's not getting 12. He might get 8. He might get half right now because games aren't played until 2 weeks from now. So
practice?
Yes, you ease him back. Yeah, we're talking about practice.
We talking about practice?
Not a game. Not the game that I love. We're talking about practice. So I have a question. Let me just ask you a question. So you're trying to save people, change it on TV. Why would the Cowboys let Dak Prescott go crazy with his arm and his throwing right now before the last preseason game when the regular season is what counts? Why would they do that? Why would they just let him be free and get out the cage? And no pitch count. Why?
I just want to put the church thing up. So what you're saying is the argument that you're making, because I'm in a little bitty closet, it gets weird in here. What you're saying is Dak Prescott won't be on a pitch count in the game, but he's on a pitch count at practice. That's what you're telling me?
Yes. What I'm telling you is this.
Who cares?
Listen,
what I'm telling you.
Pitch,
if you really good, you on a pitch count at practice. When I was really good at football, I was not running fast at practice. Why? Because Coach Tomlin knew that when you threw the ball over the middle in the game, I was going to try to split somebody in half. Troy Polamalu wore Velcro New Balance tennis shoes to practice. And when he wanted to get really fancy, he would cross the Velcro like this and they would make an X. Everybody that's good is on a pitch count if they're banged up at practice. Don't nobody care about that, Acho. So now you watching interviews, you doing all this studying, and I know y'all super smart in the Acho family. Y'all probably got some type of some type of spiritual word decoder that when a guy say this, he lying or something like that. That junk don't matter. What matter to me is when they get in the game, is Dak Prescott playing and are they calling plays to win the football game? That's the only thing you could be lying about. So what you're saying is you agree with me. You just up there with Kimberly and she been making them faces all week. She been rolling her eyes at people,
so
and now everybody is mad. Dog, Dak Prescott is fine. I'm sorry, Kim. I'm sorry. I'm gonna be a meme later.
The question is, are you buying or selling what Kellen Moore was saying about Dak? And what was the word that he used in there? He said, we're not looking at limitations right now. All that talking you've been doing, RC, has been talking about limitations. Will Dak be 100%? Probably not. Well, that is what Acho and I are talking about, okay? We're talking about Hello,
football player,
Pastor.
a football player that's not 100%.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. What I saw. Listen, what I saw in Hard Knocks. I watched Dak. He barely wanted to even not be on the field. He's like, why am I standing here? Why am I standing here? Why? Because he's so competitive. He wants to be out there after missing all of last year, basically. I question whether he's going to do more harm during the season. We don't know because the expectations are so high for him. He wants to get out there. Right now, we don't know a lot about what he will look like and what the Cowboys will be. So that is why, sir, I am selling on
All I'm gonna say this, guys.
We don't.
Guys, this is
real quick. We don't.
This is HBCU day, and the only person I'm vibing with right now on First Take is Charlie, and that's it.
Wow.
So that's what I'm saying.
You know what? I'll take it, I guess. I don't really have a response for that, but I'll take it. RC, you're my guy. Okay,
Yeah,
you are sticking with us, and thank God, because I guess, we're friends here now. But we do have to move on because we have some more football to get to. New England also looked a little different yesterday. Cam Newton was back after sitting out the last 3 days due to COVID-19 protocol, and he looked good. He was the first quarterback up in 11 on 11s. Meanwhile, despite having a dominant showing on Wednesday, Mac Jones was all over the place. A sloppy day with no first-team reps for the rookie. So here's Mac Jones after practice.
Everybody wants to take first-team reps and stuff, but it just kind of goes with the role. And, yeah, it's exciting, but it's still football, and I have to do my job and then fix the things that I did bad. But, yeah, I think we made progress, but today we definitely got to finish better, and that starts with me, really. It doesn't matter if you're first string, second string, third string, but when you go in, there's a standard, and I felt like today I could have definitely done better with that. And I think Cam did a good job today, and we'll definitely have some time here to kind of regroup and then play this final preseason game.
All right, sounds like he knows what he's talking about. Sounds like he knows what he can improve upon. So the suspense still very much alive in New England. But if he is named the starter, Ryan, will Cam Newton start all 17 games this season?
Ooh, I wish I knew, but I do not.
Big question.
I think that's a very difficult question to answer because Bill Belichick built this team to win now. When you look at what they did in free agency, we made a big uproar about it because we felt like they were spending, but they were value picks. They were adding guys to the team to complete this team. You get some dudes back on defense. You obviously have an opportunity to run 12 personnel with Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. You had Aguilar and Bourne on the outside, and obviously about the run game and the offensive line. And so this team can win with both of these quarterbacks. And so I believe that Cam Newton is a dude that if he plays the way he plays against the Philadelphia Eagles, if he's going through his progressions, if he's accurate, and then you also add what he can do with his legs, can win football games with the New England Patriots, can get the New England Patriots to the playoffs. But in the bottom and at the end, Mac Jones is the future of this team. Mac Jones is eventually going to be the quarterback. But when does that happen? And the way I see it is, as long as the New England Patriots are in the playoff hunt, and in the playoff hunt because of Cam Newton, not in spite of Cam Newton, he will be the quarterback. As soon as that begins to slip, as soon as we start to see some of the inaccuracies that we've seen, as soon as we start to see the inability to push the ball down the football field, I believe that Mac Jones will be the quarterback. I can't say if that's week 5. I can't say if that's week 10, 16, 17. But this is all about Cam Newton. Mac Jones has shown us what he can do. He's mature, he's poised, he's intelligent, he has leadership qualities. He's a dude that played under Nick Saban, so playing under Bill Belichick is like playing for homeboys. But Cam Newton has shown that he can win football games for this team even last year. They're a fumble away, they're a fourth down stop away on the goal line from being a team with a winning record. As long as Cam comes out and plays well early, I believe he stays the quarterback.
Yeah, and I'm with that, RC. I'm with you. So I think the thing a lot of people forget is that Mac Jones, in a lot of people's eyes, has already been named the future and the guy, and he's supposed to start. There's this big competition. Yet at every step of the way, Cam Newton has outperformed Mac Jones. At every step of the way, Cam Newton has gone and shown, no, I'm the guy for this team. And so I think that Cam Newton's going to start all 17 games. There's this talk of, well, he's injured, and there's injury history. Cam Newton's a dog. Like, yeah, he was injured. He missed one game last year because of COVID, not because of injury. Right. He missed, obviously, 2 years ago. He missed 14 games. Before that, so out of his 10-year career, he's played in almost 90% of all the games. You just want to put the numbers together. And so that's one piece. The second piece I would say is this. And RC, you pretty much said it all, but I'll just add one piece. They are built to win now, and Cam is the guy to do it. Last year, he had 12 touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, right? Going into his 10th year. Like, Cam's the guy to win for that team. And so, Mac Jones, I love his demeanor. I love that he can make every throw. I love that he is the future. But shoot, we're in New York right now. You look outside, there's a couple bridges out there, right? People walk over bridges. They're there for a reason. Let Cam Newton be the bridge for this team this year, this season. I think they're going to be a playoff team. I think they're not going to win the division, obviously, because of Buffalo, but I think they're going to be a playoff team, and Cam Newton's going to get them there.
17 games?
17 games.
No. I could see anywhere from 2 to 12, 16 to 15. You just don't know. Like, Cam is a very good football player, but as RC said, it's on Cam to keep Mac on the bench. And we don't know how long Mac will be sitting on the bench. What we do know, he is the future. We do know that Belichick got the scouting report on Mac Jones from his buddy Nick Saban a long time ago. And now, Acho makes a great point about games that Cam hasn't missed, that he's only missed a few amount of games in the span of his career. But here's what he did miss. Practice this week. And we can say, oh, you talking about practice? But practice was very beneficial for Mac Jones. Now, he may not have looked good the other day. This is part of the rookie's cycle, the roller coaster. This is what we're going to see. But I'm telling you, that kid learned something that day. Those coaches learned something about that kid in the film room after. Put your hand down. I'm still on the clock. So those coaches learned something about Mac Jones during those practices, the joint scrimmage with the Giants, right? And here's another thing that I know. The veterans, teammates tell you a lot. And the fact that Mac Jones already, in this limited amount of time, it may just be practice, but they are really high on him, tells me, and based on the money that Bill spent in the offseason, all of that tells me that the leash will not be long. So Cam, I hope Cam damn Newton, as Marcus Spears says, balls out. That'd be great for Cam and his future in New England or elsewhere. But if he does not, Mac won't be on the bench very long.
Yeah, I don't think I'm disagreeing with that. And honestly, I did a Kellen Moore, like Sacho would say. Y'all ask me a question and I ain't answered the dang question, right? I gave y'all all the reasons why things could happen, but I didn't say what was going to happen because I truly do not know. And sometimes it's okay to come on TV and be like, nah, I can't predict that, or I'm not prophetic. This is what Bill Belichick has an opportunity, though, to go to go two ways with this decision. And I don't necessarily believe that decision can be wrong. But what we do know is this. Once you go to Mac Jones, you stay with Mac Jones. And I think he has shown you that, at least for a rookie, he has an understanding that's good enough to run this offense. He has an understanding that's good enough to figure out ways to move this football down the field on a team that's truly built with the roster to win right now. But Cam Newton is the dude to start with. And Cam Newton has every opportunity to keep Mac Jones on the bench, because what do we know about Bill Belichick? Let's take this back 2 decades ago, right? Where Drew Bledsoe was a Pro Bowl player. Drew Bledsoe was a guy that could lead you to the playoffs. Drew Bledsoe should have slid, but he didn't. So he gets hit in his chest, and there's a dude that comes on the play that's built like a smush donut named Tom Brady. And when he gets on the field, they start to win games. And later on in that season, Tom Brady is hurt, but he's won all these games. Drew Bledsoe comes in, wins a game. Tom Brady's right back in. Why? Because the one thing that Bill Belichick cares about is winning. And so if Cam Newton is playing well enough for this team to win, for this team to compete for the AFC East, for this team to get to the playoffs, they will not rush Mac Jones on the field. Yes, they know he's the future, but the future doesn't always mean you got to rush for it to be right now. And so whatever they learned in practice, you saw them like Rob Ninkovich talking about how, Mac Jones runs up the stairs before everybody else and warms up for 45 dang minutes. That doesn't matter. Cam Newton week 1 and Cam Newton until he shows he's not the man for the job.
And I'll end with this. A lot of people have a short-term memory. Because we all remember, we don't all remember, but last year when Cam went to New England, everybody was scared. Oh, man, what is Cam about to do, partner with Bill Belichick in New England? Everybody was freaking out. Now, all of a sudden, there's a drafted quarterback named Mac Jones, and now Cam Newton is washed up. Like, I think what we're going to see in Cam Newton is that Cam Newton that everyone was excited about. Year 2 in a difficult-to-learn offense, a new system. We saw it with Tom Brady last year. It took him time to learn a new system. I think what we're going to see in New England this year is the Cam Newton and that New England Patriot offense that we all expected last year when they paid all those guys money, including Cam.
There were a lot of doubters about Cam Newton last year when he went to the Patriots, though. But look, we'll see what happens. We have more NFL on the way, though. Ryan, you are leaving for a bit. You'll be back in a few segments, though. But guess what? We got more drama to talk about. There was drama in Green Bay. So will that bad man Aaron Rodgers go back-to-back winning the MVP? Someone here says that is not happening. Find out why next. Because Aaron Rodgers expressed a serious interest to leave Green Bay during the offseason does not mean he doesn't now have his eyes set on a championship. The reigning MVP was one touchdown away from his second Super Bowl appearance last season, and he's now laser focused heading into what could be his last year with the Packers.
Look, I think we all know what's at stake, and I talked about that a little bit the other day about perspective and how important that perspective is to focus on this season and enjoy the most out of this season, because there are a lot of unknowns. So we're just going to enjoy this season. It's title town. It's championship or disappointment just about every year.
Hey, Acho, you think that Rodgers is going to repeat as MVP?
I do not. I don't think that Aaron Rodgers is going to repeat. I think that award, that honor, that privilege is going to go to a man by the name of Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert. So we all saw what he did last year. 33 touchdowns, phenomenal season last year. But let me tell you about second-year quarterbacks and what some of them have been able to do. We saw Patrick Mahomes in his second year win an MVP. We saw Lamar Jackson in his second year win an MVP. We even saw Carson Wentz in his second year on the road to an MVP. He had 33 touchdowns, only played in 13 games. If you want to go as far back as Dan Marino, if you like, he won an MVP in his second year. But that's not the reason why I think that you're going to see this quarterback win the MVP. I think that Justin Herbert's going to win MVP because of the way that his offense is set up, right? Joe Lombardi, we all talked about the Saints and the brilliance of the Saints. Joe Lombardi, who's a new offensive coordinator for the LA Chargers, was with the Saints. In the 2 years he stepped away from the Saints and went to Detroit, those were two of Drew Brees' worst years. And so that multiple personnel, the multiple groupings, the putting defenses in a bind by different people on the field and exploiting matchups, you're going to see a lot of that, I believe, this year with the LA Chargers. There's no question about Justin Herbert's arm talent. There's no question about his leadership. There's no question about what he can do with the football in his hand. He now has an offensive line behind him. Corey Linsley, Rashawn Slater. I think they're going to see Justin Herbert be the MVP of this year.
Kimberly, what say you to that?
Acho, my mom called me last night and told me, take it easy on that guy.
Oh.
Go easy on him.
Mom knows.
Yeah.
So I came in today, honestly, didn't even wear earrings because I was like, in case we have to scrap, right? But I said, you know what? I'm going to try to rest the face today. And you're making it really hard because after the offseason we just went through, after the amount of weeks and months I spent talking about how the Packers fumbled the ball with Aaron Rodgers. What did you do? You spent that entire time talking about somebody besides Aaron Rodgers. Clearly, you learned nothing from Brian Gutekunst. You learned nothing. Because when you overlook Aaron Rodgers, he's coming for you. And I think this is his last year in Green Bay. And I think we're on some last dance type of stuff right now with him, Devontae Adams. Like, I'm not trying to bet against Aaron Rodgers this year. Yes, is it difficult to win MVP back-to-back? Sure. But I'm not about to sit up here and question Aaron Rodgers. Because what did we see when the Packers weren't even sure about Aaron Rodgers? He said, you drafted that kid? Okay, watch what I do. So go ahead.
Well, there's no question about Aaron Rodgers' arm, but do you understand how difficult it is to win MVP back-to-back seasons, number one? Number two, no one expected Aaron Rodgers to do what he did. Not the Green Bay Packers, not their management.
But did he do it?
No one expected him.
But did he do it?
No one expected.
Did he do it?
He absolutely did.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely did.
Thank you.
But he's not going to do it again. No one expected Aaron Rodgers to do what he did last year.
I love this girl.
Okay.
I mean, you got to put the earrings back in so we can really scrabble.
No, she'll just take them right back out. You already saw what happened.
Yeah, like Aaron Rodgers is a phenomenal quarterback. There's no questioning his talent, but all this last dance talk, last dance, it sounds great. But some of these people like Michael Jordan, he got 6 championship rings, right? It's easy to talk about the last dance and all these championships that you've won, but until you do it, right? The Green Bay lost the last 2 years in the NFC Championship. So last dance sounds great. And Aaron Rodgers is a phenomenal arm talent. but it is extremely difficult to win an MVP the back-to-back seasons. Did Aaron Rodgers win MVP last year? Yes, sure he did. Did Patrick Mahomes win it before? Yeah. Did Lamar Jackson win it before? Yeah, a lot of people won it before. But just because you won it before doesn't mean you're going to win it again.
Doesn't mean you can't.
Yeah, I'm with
doesn't
you
mean
on
you can't. Now, here's the thing. I really wanted to have a good day with you.
We ain't got to have a good day. This is a great day.
I really did. But, I mean, the thing to me is with Aaron Rodgers, like you're talking about, oh, well, MJ, like he wants to. Who are the MJs in the NFL? Like, why? There's a reason the Packers drafted the future and then told the future, you know what? You sit here and spend all offseason trying to get the guy that they thought was done to come back. Baby, please come back. Please, we messed up. If he wasn't that MJ type of dude, would they have wasted that energy doing so? No, but they did. Is it difficult? Yes. Football is difficult. Mm-hmm. Winning a Super Bowl is difficult. But that doesn't mean that you thought it was going to be easy for the Bucs to win the Super Bowl last year? No, just because Tom Brady at 40-something went there? No. That's a very good point. No one thought the Bucs were going to win the Super Bowl this time last year. But they did.
I did. I was in Tampa. So check me out. Kmart. Like I'm on the record for this, right? I played in Tampa Bay in 2019. Like I understand how good that defense is. I played for Todd Bowles and Bruce Arians for a third of my career, 3 of my 9 years. I understood how good that offense was. I understood how close they were. They all said in that building they were a quarterback away, and they got their quarterback. I think a lot of people actually picked Tampa Bay to go win a Super Bowl knowing you have the GOAT in Tom Brady. So that's kind of that. But also to the Aaron Rodgers piece, like no one is saying like, no, I'm not coming up here and saying that Aaron Rodgers is not a phenomenal quarterback.
He already heard you. Don't backtrack. He heard you.
No one's saying that. But I'm talking about an MVP season, right? What he did last year was rare. People's like rare, like Mr. Clean, rare. That was rare, right? It's hard to do that again. The weapons you got, okay, you got Randall Cobb. Okay, sure, like he's a weapon. But also like Robert Tonyan was scoring touchdowns, right? So it's like it's hard to do it twice. So no one's questioning Aaron Rodgers' greatness. Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback. But we're talking about winning an MVP, and like the ceiling is high for Justin Herbert. Offensively, talent-wise, defensively, they'll be better. The ceiling is high. And so when we're talking about winning it back-to-back, that's difficult for Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm very high on Justin Herbert. But you're talking about hard, difficult, very hard to do. Okay, so Herbert can win the MVP, but outside of Josh Allen, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, yeah, you're on board with Justin Herbert. You don't think it's going to be hard for him to do that?
No, that's great. No,
it's
that's
hard.
Great. No, that's
yes.
Great. You just gave 4 other people who could win besides Aaron Rodgers. Like, that's great, phenomenal.
But here's no. Here's the thing. Yes, it's difficult, but my point is Aaron Rodgers, he's that dude that he's on. We talked about the Scorched Earth tour. This guy's not trying to leave Lambeau, Green Bay, just like with a whimper.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
You gave 4 people who could win outside of Aaron Rodgers now.
Okay, but I still think he could win the MVP. That has nothing to do.
Yeah, the man does definitely have a chip on his shoulder. We know that much. If he does win MVP, this will be his 4th accolade of that sort. The only other to win more than that would be my guy, Peyton Manning, with 5. Okay, listen, you're sitting in Stephen A's chair. Stephen A is not here, but if you are listening, please cover your ears, because the biggest reason that the Cowboys will make the playoffs, I'm sorry. We are not even going to bump yet. I'm sorry. I got way ahead of myself. Okay. We are going to get, we are bumping. We're going to get back to Jameis Winston. We have warning, according to Adam Schefter, Jameis Winston has been named the Saints starting quarterback and will make his first start for New Orleans on opening day versus Green Bay. Schefter also tweeting that Saints players were spotted yesterday congratulating Winston, who locked up the job with a very strong performance during Monday night's preseason win over the Jaguars. Now, Jameis Winston has really been an enigma since entering the NFL in 2015. Despite starting no games last season, Winston has the 11th most passing yards since entering the league. However, on the flip side, his 88 interceptions over that same span are the most in the league. Okay, Ryan Clark back here with us. Acho, let's start with you here. Does Jameis under center make the Saints a playoff-bound team?
He does. And initially, I didn't believe the Saints were going to be a playoff team. And then I watched, like we all watched, what Jameis was able to do as he gets a hold of this offense. And so that's number one. But number two, like defensively, no one's talking about the Saints' defense. Like their defense carried them. That's a top 5 defense in the NFL. Then you get a Jameis who's throwing for 5,000 yards. 2019, we saw 5,000 yards We saw 30-plus touchdowns. We also saw 30 interceptions. You get rid of those interceptions, that team is still confident that they are the division leaders. We were on here a couple weeks ago. I was talking with Cam Jordan, a defensive star, and he said, I was talking about Tampa Bay. He said, hey, let me remind you, brother, we won the division last year with Tom Brady. We're still the division champs. So conversations like that, like hearing guys in that locker room, Malcolm Jenkins, guys like that, DeMario Davis, like they're not letting go of that division anytime soon. Jameis, yes, he will be better. This team, yes, will make the playoffs. And so I think that sometimes it's not just about your quarterback. It's about the people around you, the culture, the scheme, the defense, and then that confidence. Like I've never heard a team so confident as I've heard with the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, for me, I'm a little torn. I'm a little torn because I'm not entirely convinced they are definitely a playoff team. And it's not entirely because of Jameis. I think his whole career, as that graphic showed us, the highs and lows, the 30 for 30 that we're used to, those 88 interceptions since 2015. But also, guys, the division. If we're to believe Acho was talking about how confident the Saints are. The Panthers, a team that feels very confident in Sam Darnold. They feel that they're going to be a lot better. So if we're supposed to believe how confident teams are saying they are, then they're a team in that division that could give the Saints some trouble. I'm not saying they win the division. But when you look at the rest of the NFC, 49ers, the Packers, the Washington football team, who yesterday Acho said was not going to win the division, but beat the Cowboys in the first round. So that's a team, too, that we have to watch. The Cowboys, the Seahawks, the Bucs. Like, there are a lot of teams in the NFC. So, yes, will the Saints compete for the playoffs? Yes. I can't today say, yes, they will definitely be a playoff team. I just do not know.
Man, Kimberly Martin just on here hedging her bets.
I'm trying to be a little bit more positive, RC. I'm trying to be a little bit more positive, like a certain somebody.
The Saints can compete, but I'm not going to say they're going to make it.
Oh, we doing that? Watch out for this now.
Wow.
Okay.
So I get what Kimberly's saying when you mention the Panthers, right? They're confident in Sam Darnold. Well, let me tell you, we ain't never seen Sam Darnold do nothing good, right?
I said the Panthers are confident because Acho's talking about the Saints and that defense. Hey, don't forget about us. So just because players say, don't forget about us, now we got to be paying attention to what players say. So I'm telling you, the Panthers say that they are very confident.
Because here is why the Saints defense is confident. It's confident because they didn't went out there and put it on film. We know what they are. We know what Malcolm Jenkins is. We know what Williams is. We know what Lattimore. We know what Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is. DeMario Davis. We know these folks. We know Cam Jordan. We have seen this, and we've seen it year after year after year. The reason that this team is not in the Super Bowl, other than a terrible call or a terrible missed call in the NFC Championship, was Drew Brees. That Drew Brees was bad in the playoffs. I mean, people didn't want to admit it then because he was Drew Brees, but he stunk it up. He couldn't push the football down the field. This defense has been championship caliber the last few years, and I believe they will be again this year. Also, what we haven't mentioned this entire show, and I guess it is because, out of sight, out of mind, is Alvin Kamara still plays football. Mm-hmm. Alvin Kamara is still alive. And last I checked, he's one of the top 3 backs in the league, especially when you're talking about guys that can do it in the run and pass. And what have we always said about Sean Payton? Sean Payton finds a way to get the most out of the dude that's playing quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater, 5-0. Taysom Hill, 3-1. And now he gets an opportunity to work with Jameis Winston, who probably, of the quarterbacks he's gotten the opportunity to coach the last 3 years, right, and what they are and what they were at the time, this is the best quarterback he's going to get to coach. He's the let me not say best. He's the most talented quarterback Sean Payton has coached over the last 3 years. We do understand the turnovers, but we've also seen Jameis be good before. And so when we're talking about confidence and confidence in the fact that you've done it before, the Saints have that. And because of that, and because of the pride, and because of what I feel like they understand is the adversity that will be facing them, this becomes a playoff team. 7 get in, and I believe they're one of those 7.
Yeah, I'm with that. I think that, all the teams that we named earlier, Kimberly, those teams can make it, but also it's 7 teams that can make it. And so New Orleans, once again, going to Sean Payton, just what, like he knows how to exploit matchups, period. Alvin Kamara, matchup problem. Jameis Winston using his strengths, matchup problem. But also, like, when you've won the division 4 years straight, last year, when Tampa Bay signed Tom Brady, people said, man, Tampa Bay is going to be a problem. And last year, when Tampa Bay played New Orleans mopped them up easily during the regular season. We all know what happens in the postseason. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about winning the division. New Orleans is not intimidated or scared or frustrated by Tampa Bay, by Carolina, by the Atlanta. Nobody. In their minds, they are the division champs because the proof is in the pudding. They don't have to talk about I believe. They got the history. They got receipts.
So, a wise gentleman said earlier on this show, guys, sometimes we can get on TV and not have to act like we know the future. And I feel like that was Ryan. I feel like that was
First
RC.
off,
And
I
that's
sure
what I'm
as
saying.
hell don't sound like that.
Oh my gosh.
You're not finna greenie me. Nah.
So that's why I say, listen, I said earlier, this is an opportunity for Jameis. We know the Saints defense is good, right? But the question is the offense. No Michael Thomas right now. Don't know when he's come back. What's his situation? Marquez Callaway, he's been good in the preseason. Can he be that guy, that little bright spot during the season? Sure. We need to see it. And we need to see Jameis be the guy that can throw 5,000 yards and throw touchdowns without turning over the football. We still need to see it. So while I think this is a team that is very good, I do not know today whether they will make the playoffs. It's on Jameis and them to show me, RC.
Did you just say
I
Jameis
like
and
what
them?
Kimberly's putting out. I like Kimberly hedging her bets. And in fact, the woman has a point here because as of right now, the Saints have a 46.4% chance of making the playoffs. That's according to ESPN's FPI. So less than 50%.
Fix your face, RC. Fix your
and
face.
listen to this, Mr. Sam Acho, a 17.8% of winning the NFC South. So
Fix that face.
Kimberly,
Fix that face.
So you're
tell
saying
them,
there's
girls,
a chance?
tell them. Okay, RC, listen, that is all we have for you today. So thank you for being here.
On that note, bye.
We'll see you later. Okay, guys, listen. Growing up, as Bears have made their quarterback decision, and head coach Matt Nagy thinks this is the year his offense will really get going, saying, quote, "When I first got here, I explained to everybody that this offense, it takes a few years to get going. I feel like we're at that spot right now. We've got some guys that have been on this team for 2, 3, 4 years, and they know the offense as well as I do. When you have that, and you have a guy like Andy and these quarterbacks that come in and understand it, that is where it gives me confidence." All right, he is confident in Andy Dalton, but he also, as we know, has a great young player in Justin Fields. So, Acho, you have a very interesting take on Fields. So,
Ooh, let's
the floor
hear it,
is
boy.
yours. Kimberly, hold back for just a minute.
Justin Fields and Trey Lance could be the next Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. Like when you watch them play and the systems that they're in, like we all get excited about Trey Lance. And yes, Jimmy G may start, but we all get excited about Trey Lance, especially with Kyle Shanahan's offense. We all saw what Kyle Shanahan did with RG3. I played against San Francisco. That was the most difficult offense I've ever had to go against. And you add a guy like Trey Lance in that offense. So I think he's going to be dominant for a long time. And then Justin Fields, right? The argument is, well, who knows what the coaching is going to look like in quarterback and all these things. Justin Fields supersedes that. Guys like Peyton Manning only won one championship when he was in Indy, but he had a myriad of coaches, right? He had some coaches move around, and he didn't have a consistent coach like you saw with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. These two young quarterbacks are the future of the NFL. We've seen how the NFL's gone. Look at the MVPs, right? Aaron Rodgers can move. Patrick Mahomes can move. Daniel Jones, even if people are asking questions about, he can move. Lamar Jackson as well. So the future of the NFL when it comes to quarterbacking is changing. You need athletic quarterbacks who can also throw the ball, who can make every throw, but also can move in the pocket. That's what I see with these two young quarterbacks and the future of the NFL.
I like the sound of it. Kimberly?
So I'm with you, Acho, when it comes to talent. But can we just pause and talk about the Justin Fields narrative? Like this offseason, we have gone from this kid can't go through his progressions and it does not work hard And now he's about to be Peyton Manning or Tom Brady. It is wild. The Justin Field takes are wild. But one thing I do disagree on, among others, is that you talk about, oh, yeah, we could say the organization doesn't really matter. Great players supersede that. But yesterday, were we not on the same set talking about how Urban Meyer could potentially hurt Trevor Lawrence's development because he's a rookie coach, because there are all these issues within the organization? Like, that's my question with Fields and Chicago. I'm with you on Lance. Obviously, Lance has to get some seasoning, but with Fields, Chicago, like there's a reason that Chicago fans are excited about Fields. They're so excited. You know why? Because this front office has messed up the quarterback position plenty of times. You had Mike Glennon. We paid Mike Glennon. Then we bring in, we don't draft Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson to get Mitch Trubisky. Then we bring in Nick Foles. Then we go back to Trubisky. You see, this is the problem that Chicago fans have with where the state of the team, because they want to see a winner. They want to see the QB of the future. They want to see Justin Fields be that Peyton Manning, Tom Brady that you're describing. But to just dismiss that the organization, the coaching, where you are, helps you get to that point. Why is Tom Brady Tom Brady? He's the GOAT for sure. But being with Bill Belichick certainly did help him. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, and we don't know how long. Matt Nagy, he's talking about, several years and all that stuff, and we're finally there. We don't know if he's the head coach next year.
Absolutely. And you're right? Like, that's why Belichick is Belichick. Belichick had Tom Brady, but Peyton Manning didn't always have a consistent coach. Peyton Manning had Jim Mora Jr. early in his career. Then Peyton Manning had Tony Dungy. He didn't always have a consistent coach in his career. And so that's where that example comes from. But just to the Justin Fields conversation, because there was talk earlier about not
a lot
reading
of
through
talk,
progression, but that was all false.
Right.
Those were all lies. Those were all things that were spit out and sent out to the media so that he can fall in the draft, which is what we saw. We saw Justin Fields fall. RC has been saying the whole time, and I even said it when I said the Bears were going to trade for him, trade up to get him. Like, he is he could be the best quarterback in this year's draft and for the future. Like, that's who Justin Fields is. That's why so many people, especially Bears fans, but people in general, are excited, elated. They're over the moon that they finally have their guy. I played with Jay Cutler in Chicago. All those quarterbacks. I played with Mike Glennon. I was there with all those quarterbacks.
You played with everybody we're talking about.
So I get it. So I understand it. And here's the greatest thing about it, right? Because Kimberly, you make a phenomenal point. We're in New York right now. I was walking through the streets in New York last night, getting ready for a production call. Dude calls me back. All of a sudden, I see a dude on his bike. He says, "Oh, man, Sam Macho." I said, "Oh, nice to meet you." I thought he knew me from TV. He knew me from the Chicago Bears. He's like, "Dude, I'm a Bears fan. I love the Bears." I said, "Hey, what do you think about Justin Fields?" He says, "Man, that's the guy. We got to put him in, but I'm trying to trust the coaches. But he is the quarterback for the future. I believe in him." Everyone believes in Justin Fields. Yeah. And so that's why I believe he can and will be the future for this organization, even if Matt Nagy leaves in a year or 2 or 3, right? Like, that's like let's not pretend that Peyton Manning had one consistent coach his entire career. He didn't. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, they had that connection. Mm-hmm. That's what you can see with Trey Lance and Kyle Shanahan. You're not going to see that in Chicago.
So, again, let me stress, I'm with you on the talent for both of these guys, because during the pre-draft process, when I talked to people, the things that they said were, execs would say, the two guys who have the highest upside that you're really excited about, outside of Trevor Lawrence, who's billed as the next Andy Luck, was Justin Fields and Trey Lance. It was a question of, are they ready to play right now? I do want to know how, in this list, that you did bypass the quarterback who was called the next Andrew Luck. How is Trevor not in there in the Peyton Manning?
Really quick, because we got to get to
Yeah, organizationally, they got no shot. Like, Chicago's defense is going to be good this year. They're going to have a top 10 defense this year. It's not going to be 19 like you saw last year. So defense is going to be good. Running game is going to be better. And if we believe what Matt Nagy says about that offense, then Justin Fields will be great in that offense. And so that's why you got to leave out just Trevor Lawrence in this conversation about the future greats.
Okay, you make a good point there. Okay, well, we do have to keep it moving, but we have a very special guest joining us coming up on First Take. None Alcorn State. Let's give a very warm welcome to former Alcorn State University turned Green Bay Packer legend, Donald Driver. Donald, good to see you. Welcome to First Take.
Thank you all so much. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. We want to start with your alma mater because we've been talking about it all show long. We are so pumped for tomorrow. How would you describe the MEAC-SWAC rivalry?
It's always been a challenge. It's like what I always tell people. It's like the Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. It's always going to be a rival. We're going to go head to head, and the best team is always going to win.
So, Donald, most people may not know this, but you were a 5-time Athlete of the Year in the SWAC. So where does that rank on your personal list of greatest achievements?
There's a lot of them.
There's a lot.
I don't know. I would always say probably somewhere in the middle. I think you always have things that there's always things that you want to accomplish in life. And so I don't think you can pinpoint where they are, but I think in the middle somewhere because, I've been blessed to be able to go on to play for the Green Bay Packers, win a Super Bowl, and to win a show called Dance with the Stars. So all those are up there with me.
Oh, my goodness. That's awesome. Very diverse man right here.
And so you averaged 20 yards a catch in college at Alcorn State. Like, you were a big play guy. How was it making those big plays in the rivalry games when those games were coming?
I think when the pressure comes on, they always say big-time players step up when big-time opportunities happen, right? And so for me, it was a great opportunity to make the plays that happened. I think that's what gave me an opportunity that organizations couldn't turn me down. They had to look at me. And so the Green Bay Packers and a bunch of other NFL teams gave me the opportunity to play there and play in the National Football League. But the Packers was the one who drafted me and made it all happen.
Donald, what was it like to follow in the footsteps of a legend at Alcorn State in the late Steve McNair?
Steve was an icon. He's going to always be a legend, good friend of mine, and unfortunately, we all know what happened. So he kind of paved the way for other athletes to come in there to be a first-round draft pick, the third pick in the draft. It just kind of gave everybody the opportunity that coming out of SWAC, you can get drafted, and you can make the best opportunity of it.
So you said coming out of SWAC, you can get drafted, and like, how did those games? You talked about the Bears, the Packers rivalry. You talked about the Alcorn State and the rivalries. How did the games in the NFL, those Bears-Packers matchups, how did those match up versus when you were the matchups in college?
Well, I think it's kind of almost like the same, I guess you can say, because we had our rivals. It was Jackson State. We couldn't stand Jackson State. As you know, my boy Deion Sanders is there now.
He was just on yesterday.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's just a rival. We always have our rivals. Jackson State was one, Southern was another, and then you got to play Mississippi Valley where the great Jerry Rice went to. So it was always competition, but, the battle of the trenches, right? You got to make the best of it.
Donald, we cannot let you leave until I ask you about Aaron Rodgers, who I think might actually win the MVP, and I took some heat for it. So I want to know from you. He seems like a man on a mission this season. I want to know, what do you think what his ceiling could be this year for the Packers, and if you actually think this could be his final season in Green Bay?
I think he's going to play at the high level. He's always tried to prove people wrong. He did it when he first came in 2005 when we drafted him. He felt like he should have been the first pick instead of Alex Smith, but unfortunately, other things happened, right? And so he paved his way. He had to sit behind a great Hall of Fame quarterback in Brett Favre and got the opportunity. And so we kind of knew that he was there. He could play at that level. And from there, it skyrocketed. And so I think a lot of people was questioning, what was he coming back this year? Was that decision going to be made? He made it clear. He's back home. And now if he wins MVP again, they can't question that.
What do you think the Packers are capable of this season?
I'm always going to say they're going to go to the Super Bowl. They're always, I tell people all the time, it's just one play. It's one play that separates you from going to the Super Bowl and one that takes you away from it. And so we know that they're almost there.
Where do you think he winds up next year? Like, okay, Super Bowl or MVP season? What do you think? What do you say? Where is he going next year, Donald Driver?
Hey, if y'all want me to sit in y'all's seat, I'll give y'all that answer. Y'all let me know when y'all want me to switch seats. We'll do it. I don't know.
Respect.
Okay, listen, we won't make you answer that question, but we do want to talk about something. It's sitting right here in front of me. I have these beautiful pair of shoes sitting right in front of me. I wish they were my size. I'd wear them right on out of here. This is your shoe line along with your son. It's called Moral Code Shoe Line. We have a pair here, so we want to know, what is the motivation behind this shoe line? Because we hear that it focuses on young men of color. Oh, we lost Donald.
I want to hear about these. I want to hear about these sexy shoes.
Yeah, these are the shoes. They're called Moral Code Shoe Line, so you can probably pick up a pair of these. And guess what? They have the red bottoms. Us ladies, we love those. But these, unfortunately, are for men, so you might be the only one.
Well, and one thing to know about those shoes too, he started the company with his son. And so think about like the family ties. Obviously, we know his mom has been battling with cancer as well. So like when it comes to family and success, like you think about Donald Driver, like he's literally the picture of success. 14-year NFL career. At a 14-year, he goes and wins a Super Bowl, goes and wins Dancing with the Stars. Anything this dude does is excellent. So when it comes to the shoe and him starting the company and his son, you know it's going to be excellent. So I need to get me a pair of those.
Yeah, so
you talking about switching seats?
So bottom line.
Yeah, we can switch some seats if you give me some stock in your company.
Well, we don't have them anymore because we lost them due to technical difficulties. But bottom line here, as you can hear, be like Donald Driver. That is the best advice I can leave you all here with. But I also have some other advice for fantasy footballers. It's about Saquon Barkley. We'll have more on that when we return. Plus, someone here is predicting the Bucs. Okay, Saquon Barkley back on the field yesterday. Acho, will Saquon return to peak form?
He will. Saquon Barkley is one of those rare talents in the NFL. Like when he touches that rock, it's going to be a problem for the defense. I think he will come back to peak form. Will it take time? Of course. Come back from an injury like he came back from last year, it takes time to recover. But he's young, he's talented, he's hungry, and he's a special, rare, unique talent.
Next, Ryan Tannehill among 9 Titans players and coaches who have tested positive for COVID-19. Kimberly, are you concerned about COVID impacting the season?
Yeah, you know why I'm concerned? Because I already had an unvaxxed player tell me, yeah, if the NFL thinks it's going to stop me from going outside on the road, it's got another thing coming. You know how I know it's a big deal? Because Bruce Arians is out here making his own COVID protocols. You know how I know it's a big deal? Brandon Beane, the GM of the Bills, says he doesn't have their team doesn't have COVID under control, and that could continue throughout the season.
Okay, next, CBS Sports NFL writer Pete Prisco said some Jags aren't thrilled with Urban Meyer's college-like ways. Acho, will Meyer still be Trevor Lawrence's coach by the end of his rookie deal?
He will not. If they don't succeed early. Urban Meyer will not be there. I don't see the Jacksonville Jaguars succeeding early. There's too much to rebuild. You build a team around a quarterback before you build it around a coach. And Trevor Lawrence is the quarterback of the future. I don't know if Urban Meyer is going to last the extent of his rookie deal.
Okay, let's move to another team in Florida. In an article on ESPN of his top 10 predictions, insider Kevin Seifert predicts the Buccaneers will not repeat as Super Bowl champions, saying complacency is the Bucs' biggest obstacle. So, Acho, who is the biggest threat to the Bucs in the NFC?
Well, I love the complacency piece because that's where you got to watch out for that people don't talk about is the Washington football team. We saw what the Washington football team did. No, I don't love them. I watched the tape, right? We saw what they did last year in the playoffs with their 4th string quarterback, a dude named Taylor Heineke, who was taking college classes so they didn't think he was going to be on the field. He came and almost beat them in the playoffs with the 4th string quarterback. But that's not even about the quarterback. It's about that defense. Like they have the top. They were number 2 last year. Chase Young. You got Montez Sweat. They have dominant defensive linemen up front, 4 first-round picks. The only question mark you have with Tampa Bay is the offensive line. And so when it comes to the playoffs, if Tampa Bay meets Washington in the playoffs, there's some question marks. Washington could upset them in the playoffs.
See, I started the show saying that I promised my mom that I wouldn't do what I did yesterday.
I'm ready for it. What'd you do? Oh, what'd you do yesterday? They didn't watch the show yesterday.
This is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so the Bucs won the Super Bowl, and Washington, of all the teams in the NFC, that is the team. And don't get it twisted, Ron Rivera. Defense, very good. And Washington is going to beat the Cowboys in the first round of the division. Is that what you said yesterday?
Yes.
The Washington football team in the NFC. That's the team. When you got the Packers, when you have the 49ers, when you spend when you told us that Trey Lance is the second coming of Peyton Manning soon, now San Francisco doesn't come to mind when it's a team that could compete and give the Bucs fits. The Packers, Aaron Rodgers on a revenge tour. The 49ers are a team built to win. You know how I know they're very good? Because they're okay starting Jimmy G in week 1 because they know that they've got all the pieces around them. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. They know that Jimmy G can start and Trey Lance can take it and run with it. But the Washington football team led by Ryan Fitzpatrick, I think he played for as many teams as you did. Ryan Fitzpatrick is the guy in Washington, and that's the team that you think gives the Bucs the hard. That's the team. That's the team. Is that I have it right?
And I played for 3 years. If only I had a 20-something year career like Ryan Fitzpatrick, I wouldn't be in this seat right now. That'd be pretty dope. Right now, I have my 9-year career, and I'm very happy with it. But I mean, think about it. Think about this. 4th string, right? Like I don't need to repeat myself, but like Ryan Fitzpatrick is an upgrade, and no, we don't think he's the answer, but fourth string. So maybe now you have a first string quarterback who might be healthy. Right? I'm not talking about Washington football team this year going to win a Super Bowl. I'm talking about matchups. Football in the NFL is about matchups. So if you have a team that can match up with Tampa Bay's offense and a number 2 rated defense in Washington, when that matchup comes, and then a culture, we'll talk about coaching. Not every coach is ready for the big bright light. Sean McVay wasn't ready for a Super Bowl 2 years ago. You have a guy named Ron Rivera who's a 2-time coach of the year. He understands coaching. Yeah. He understands culture. He understands what it takes to win. Obviously, I think people hear this like I'm probably a year early on Washington being in that Super Bowl conversation. They're a quarterback away from being in that Super Bowl conversation.
So they're not the biggest.
But they are. There's a difference. So check me out. There's a difference between winning a Super Bowl and being a threat to a team. The NFL is about matchups.
Of course.
And so last year there was a matchup problem. There was a matchup problem in the playoffs with Tampa Bay. People thought Tampa Bay would mop the floor with Washington, and they didn't. They didn't. There's a matchup problem. And so that's all I'm talking about. I'm talking about when it comes to matchups in the playoffs, in Tampa Bay repeating. That was what we're talking about. The Washington football team is a matchup problem for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I'm not disputing that they are a matchup problem. But to say that the question
Yes, absolutely.
is the biggest threat. That is where, my brother, we disagree.
And my sister, if I could just quickly say, so that's the question. But also, in the lead, we talked a little bit about how, man, you could get complacent after winning a Super Bowl. You could overlook some teams after winning a Super Bowl. You don't see anybody overlooking L.A. Rams. You don't see anybody overlooking San Francisco. You might go and overlook the Washington football team in the playoffs, and all of a sudden you trip up, and all of a sudden you're not where you thought you would be. And so when you talk about a threat, it's a combination of not only the best team possible, not only the matchup, but also you come and overlook a team you think you might walk away with it like Tampa Bay thought they would last year, and it wasn't as easy of a game as everyone expected.
No, I know what a threat is, but the question says biggest.
Absolutely.
So that is where
you say who's the biggest threat.
And I say Washington is the biggest threat. Think about so it's not just about the question is who's the best, not who's the best team.
Right.
That's not the question. But when you talk about threat, it's not always about the best team. Tampa Bay lost twice in their division to the New Orleans Saints. So you could say the Saints were the best team in the division, but when it came to playoff time, the best team overall won. And so it's not always about, okay, well, who's got the best roster or who's the number 1 overall ranking team or win the division. Sometimes you got to get hot at the right time.
True. I'm with you on that. I just know that I covered the Packers and the Bucks in the NFC title game. I was at that game. I was at Lambeau. So, and I watched Washington lose to the Bucks. So when I think about biggest threats, Washington, no disrespect, very good team, but I don't think the biggest. That's all.
So the Packers, you would say, are the biggest threat to the Bucs.
Or the 49ers.
And I think a lot of people, that's probably why a lot of people are, you mentioned a lot of people aren't talking about the Washington football team. I think it's because a lot of people don't perceive them, maybe a matchup challenge, but maybe not as significant of a threat down the stretch as the Packers would be.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, well, let's keep it moving. Bengals head coach Zach Taylor announced Wednesday that Joe Burrow will play in the preseason finale against the Dolphins on Sunday. Burrow did not play in either of the Bengals' first 2 preseason games. He's still coming back from that torn ACL he suffered Week 11 last season. Our own quarterback, Dan Orlovsky, says playing Burrow is a bad idea. Listen.
I have been adamant I would not play Joe Burrow this season until me as a coaching staff felt good about that offensive line. I don't necessarily want to put Joe out there because, hey, the doctors have cleared him, and Joe tells me he feels good. If that offensive line, if I'm the coach, and I don't believe that offensive line is ready to protect him, I'm not playing Joe Burrow until as many weeks as it takes.
Okay, Kimberly, we've had this discussion about a few different quarterbacks. Okay, we're going to talk about Joe Burrow right now, but we've had it about Trevor Lawrence already. Yeah. Should young quarterbacks sit until the O-line is ready?
In theory, they should. But what bothers me about that comment is, what did the doctors clear Joe Burrow from? The knee injury he suffered last year as a result of playing behind a bad offensive line. The Bengals made that decision. They rolled that dice. They knew, we've got the franchise guy, and they also knew last year that their O-line was not good, and they still put him out there. This year, you don't have the option now of not playing Joe Burrow just because now you're worried about the offensive line. They also had an opportunity, the Bengals did, to take an offensive tackle first with their first round pick. And instead they took Jamar Chase. Cool. But they've had opportunities to address the offensive line. So in a perfect world, yes, I would rather see QBs, rookie QBs, franchise QBs sit for a bit and understand, at least you got to be able to protect them. And I'm sure, yes, teams can scheme up ways to protect guys, but did the Bengals do that last year? Who were they playing against when he got hurt? You know what I mean? So in a perfect world, yes, but there is no patience in the NFL. So no, I don't think, especially in year 2, you can actually sit Joe Burrow.
Yeah, and in a perfect world, you sit and wait until your offensive line is ready, but this world isn't perfect. This world, it's just not. And so even if your offensive line isn't ready, you find ways to mask them. I play defense. You mask bad offensive lines. You put in tight ends to stay in and block. You only run 2 or 3 man routes. You find ways to run the ball and protect your rookie quarterback. And so the issue I have with waiting until an offensive line is ready is that what happens if that offensive line isn't ready this year? Yeah. What happens if it's not ready and still bad next year? What happens? So sooner or later, the coaches have to find a way to say, you know what? We may have a bad offensive line, but we're going to mask that offensive line by game planning. We're going to mask that offensive line by trying to run the ball. And even if we can't run the ball, we're going to run 2-man routes, 3-man routes, whatever it takes to keep our quarterback protected. We may not be as dangerous and as risky as we would like, but we're going to keep our quarterback safe.
Here's what I need. I need us to just keep it consistent. Make it make sense and keep it consistent. Why is it that everybody's okay with Justin Fields? Oh, because he's athletic. Yeah, he can. Yeah, it doesn't matter that the old line is bad. Why are they okay with that? Why are they okay with Trevor Lawrence starting behind a bad offensive line? But now it's like, oh, well, Joe Burrow, because he got hurt, but he got hurt because of the same sort of situations. And I understand this is part of my biggest frustration with the NFL, because these coaches, these GMs, these players do not have the luxury of time. But that is what they need when you were talking about a position like quarterback for good quarterbacks. Like, it's fine. Like, it's different. It is not the same as every other position. You have to treat it like it's special, because it is, because that guy holds the ball every single snap. So, unfortunately, like Acho said, we don't have the luxury of patience, but man, I wish we did, because a lot of careers in the NFL would be a lot different if we did.
Well, I just interject. Let's look at Andrew Luck. I mean, it wasn't even the beginning of his career. It was years in. He had terrible O-line protection. He ended up completely retiring because he couldn't stay away from injury. So, I mean, there's really no getting around that. Acho?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the thing is, like, when it comes to a bad offensive line, you have to find ways to mask them. And so that's one issue. But a totally separate issue are rookie quarterbacks who may have the luxury. We talked about it with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. You have the luxury of learning not only from a player, but also learning a system. You hear from older quarterbacks, veterans, they say, man, I have to unlearn what I learned at my old system, and I got to relearn it here. And so if you're a rookie quarterback who has the luxury of trying to learn a system that's different, then you're already going to be in there like a Trevor Lawrence, and you had a bad offensive line. That's a coaching issue. That's not a player issue.
Okay, well, let's transition for the last few minutes of the show. We've told you earlier there was some breaking news earlier this morning. Adam Schefter reporting that New Orleans has named Jameis Winston the starter for the New Orleans Saints. So I want to get both of your final thoughts on this. If you think it was a smart move and how the Saints will fare with him as a starter. Kimberly?
No, the door is open. The door is open for Jameis to take it and run with this opportunity. Like I said earlier, like I talked to him in 2019, like he understood he was in the final year of his rookie deal and it didn't work out then. I think most people would hope that he's able to figure it out because the competition to me between him and Taysom Hill, it really shouldn't have been a competition. I felt like Jameis can get you the ball downfield. Like he could throw it downfield. He can put up 5,000 yards. He can put up 30 plus touchdowns. So my hope is that it works out. But time will tell. He's got to prove it because of what we've seen in his career.
Yeah, Taysom Hill losing the quarterback competition was the best thing that could have happened to the New Orleans Saints. Why? Because now Jameis Winston is your starter. You get a chance to start game planning for week one. Number two, Taysom Hill goes back to his usual role as this X factor, as this Swiss Army knife. He can return. He can come in at quarterback at times. He can catch passes. He can even run the ball. And so you've got Taysom Hill back in his usual position. And now you give Sean Payton, this offensive genius, an opportunity to really try and prove and develop who he is and how he can game plan and get the Saints back to where they want to be, which is another playoff run deep into the playoffs.
Yeah, we saw what Teddy Bridgewater looked like. Granted, it was a short span, but I know he went 5-0 with Peyton. So the hope is that Jameis can do that here. Losing Drew Brees, the idea that you could lose a Hall of Fame QB and you can have this guy slide in, it's up to Jameis. Mm-hmm. This is a perfect spot. Acho, talking about that defense. Listen, Acho. I mean, that defense.
So now you're agreeing with me? You're going to fight me the whole show in the last 2 minutes, be like, Acho, you're right. Well, I'll take it.
Yeah, just a little bit. But no, it's a dream scenario for Jameis, for a guy who was a first overall pick, for him to come in and be that. That'd be a great football story.
Yeah, absolutely. This is definitely the perfect opportunity for him to build a new identity. And I want to show you all something. This is the challenge that no one asked for, but it has come to a mascot near you. Here's the Colts mascot, Blue, doing the crate challenge. And this,
don't do it, Blue.
This suspense is real. I mean, that's a.
At least somebody hasn't
I don't know how big
the crates.
Somebody
hasn't kicked out the crates.
I just don't know where they get the crates from, number one.
I have never seen so many crates in my life.
Did you see how the milk company was like, these are for carrying milk. They are not for stuffing.
Right.
This is the moment of truth.
Don't watch this.
He is good.
Okay. So we got producers and all the stuff showing the good film, showing the Blue going up and winning. It's some film out there. You go to Twitter, go check it out. Of people falling flat on their face,
people are having concussions out here.
Kids at home.
Acho,
don't follow that example.
We're gonna have you do that.
No shot.
Next time you're on.
Never.
Yeah, no, we are.
No
Producer.
Shot.
Oh, yeah. No, they said, yeah, you're doing it for sure.
No shot. I'm going to be with Donald Driver.
Okay, guys. Well, it has been so much fun. Loved hanging with both of you these past couple of days. Kimberly, I will see you on the podcast, of course, each and every Wednesday.
How about one of y'all do the crate challenge? How about you, Charlie? You do the crate challenge.
What's that?
Challenge. You can do the crate challenge.
I'll do the crate challenge. I'm not scared.
Kimberly,
no, I mean, I look good, but these
look at me.
No, sir.
Look at me.
Listen, look out to me. I'm the captain now.
I am not scared.
All right, now. You're going to be on Twitter.
I'm not scared.
Hey, Charlie might be a meme pretty soon if she does this. Y'all, don't go do the crate challenge. It ain't worth it.
Okay. Look, I think we'll need to get a little bet going here, okay? If I make it, something good happens.
Whatever.
We'll talk about it. You guys, it has been amazing. A great day highlighting HBCUs in the SWAC MEAC Challenge. Can't wait for that game. See everyone later.
Don't do it.